we were talking, we've had a couple questions. Some people have asked about the van Timothy, what had been done to it. We showed the build on it and how we did the build, but we haven't really gone over everything, exactly what was done. So we figured we'd just do a walk around video and just tell you everything that's been done to it and kind of what the plans are for the van in the future. So that's what we figured we would do, and we're going to do that. But for those who haven't seen it, this is my van. It's a 1987 G20. We bought it 6 or 8 months ago, found it on the side of the road after we'd sold our other van, and got it going. It needed a transmission in it. It was piled high full of stuff when we got it, but it was a nice van. There's no dents in it. It's a real high. It's a Paradise
Custom?
Paradise Customs conversion. I've never heard of it, but it seems to be a real high-end conversion for the time period. But we put a transmission in it, took the seats out of it, put a bed in the back, and we've been camping in it and going to shows and stuff like that since. And I always knew we were going to do the four-wheel drive conversion on it. So when we finally got caught up and got all the parts rounded up, we did the conversion on it. And I know if you saw the video, you see we were kind of racing on it because we started on a Monday to try to get it ready for a Saturday, that following Saturday, for an event, which we did. And we've just been adding on and not saying we did stuff wrong or cut corners, but we just did stuff to get it to the show, to the event. And we've just been kind of upgrading those and adding on and doing, just getting it to where we want it. And I know you saw the video. We had it two-wheel drive for a while, and it did all right. And you look at the video of that wobbly old drive shaft that we extended, drove it around like that and had a vibration. So we finally put the four-wheel drive transmission and transfer case in it and drove it around 2 or 3 days, and then the transmission started making a noise, which it was bought as a good transmission in the truck. We pulled the dipstick, the fluid was good and red in it, and 9 times out of 10, if that's the case, you're usually going to get a pretty good transmission, but it let us down. So we took the transmission out, kind of did a semi-rebuild on it, and you can watch the video how we did that. Got it back in there and been driving it for probably a week and a half. It's been doing great. But anyway, getting back to the van, like I said, it's a 1987 G20. It's a 305, first year for the fuel injection, pretty good running motor in it. I know a lot of people hate 305s, they call them boat anchors, and they are not 350s, but if you've got a good running 305, it will do the job for you. It's not going to win any races, but it'll get you to point A and point B, and when you get a little age on me like I am, going fast doesn't really make a big difference. You just want to get there and get there with economy, and they do get pretty good gas mileage. This thing gets, I haven't checked it since we lifted it up, but before we lifted it up, it was getting about 17 and a half miles to the gallon, which was pretty good. But getting back to it, what we did, we put the four-wheel drive conversion on it. We've got a Dana 60 in the front, a corporate 14 bolt in the rear. We bought a 85 Chevrolet military truck, 3500. That's where we got the running gear out from under. We used the front Dana 60. We used the turbo 400 transmission and the 208 in it. The 14 bolt that comes in the trucks will not work in the vans because they're not wide enough. When you go to set the van down on it, the leaf springs actually hit the hubs because they're not wide enough. So we had bought I think it was a 92 G30 van, which came with a corporate 14 bolt in the rear. So we just took the Detroit locker and the gears out of the truck rear end and put it in this rear end. So it's got a stock G30 rear end with a Detroit locker and 456 gears, a Dana 60 in the front with 456 gears. We use 6-inch super lift leaf springs is what we use on the front. We get them brand new from Summit, and we make all of the spring hanger and everything to mount the springs under it. The crossover steering kit that we buy, it's an off-the-shelf kit that we get from a company up in Washington State. It works good. The only thing I will say on this, I'm probably gonna maybe put a lift block on this to get this steering link a little more in line. It's got just a little, not much, but just a little bit of bump steer because you want to try to get this steering arm just as parallel as you can, and the last van we did, we only did a 4-inch lift kit on it, which it worked out perfect. It was no problem at all. But this one being a little bit higher, probably going to raise that up a little bit to get it more in line. But it's driving. You can still take your hands off the steering wheel now and drive it down the road. But anyway, the Dana 60 up front, out back. Like I said, we used the van 14 bolt, and we used the stock springs out from under the G30 van. They are a little bit wider than the G20 van, so we have to do a little bit of modification to the spring hangers to get those wider springs in there. But it worked out good. But there's no lift blocks on the rear. It's the stock springs with a shackle flip. And what we do is we take the shackle on the back and just flip it down, where normally it would be raised up, flipped up under here and tucked up under the body. But we do a shackle flip on it, and when that gives you, it probably gives you about 5 or 6 inches of lift there. And with the stock springs, it worked out pretty good. The van is pretty close to level. It's still sitting a little high in the front, and we know that. The springs will probably settle over time, and we're planning on putting a heavier bumper and a winch on the front, so we think that's going to pull it down to where it needs to be. So we're fine with the way it is right now. And that's really all we did. We have to make the cross member for the transmission and transfer case. All that has to be fabricated and made. Of course, we make all the spring hangers on the front.
Yeah, we can look at that.
Yeah, what else have we?
We can look at that
More than
cross
to it,
member.
but yeah. Yeah, this is the cross member here that we make. We mounted in the factory location. Of course, we have to make it a little bit to go around the front drive shaft, but they work out good the way we do those. The drive shaft is actually, this is a stock drive shaft out of the truck. It's a little short. You can see the splines are here starting to show just a little bit, but it works out fine. We'll never drop the suspension, hang it down to where it'll drop that, separate that slip yoke. The rear drive shaft, we showed it in the video. That's the stock drive shaft out from under the military truck. We just shortened it 3.5 inches, and it works fine. It's balanced good. It does real good. And that's about all we will probably do. We probably are going to go to a 350 engine eventually. The 305 that's in it now runs good. It does fine. I'm pleased with it. But when it finally kind of maybe lets go or starts getting weak, we'll put a 350 in it. And I'm real old school. It's got fuel injection, and I may even take the fuel injection off of it and put a carburetor on it. And a lot of people will probably think that I'm crazy for doing that, but we plan on using this for a camper van and getting off, getting out in the backwoods and off the beaten path. And I know if it's got a carburetor and a regular fuel pump and all on it, if something goes bad with that thing, I can 90% fix it enough to where I can get it home. I can swap a fuel pump, work on a carburetor, and most any parts store that you go in the United States is going to have parts for it. Fuel injection is great. I love it, but it's great until it's not great. When it's not great, then you got problems. You got sensors going bad, you've got a fuel pump in the tank that you've got to drop. So when you're out on a trail somewhere, it's a whole lot easier to fix a carbureted engine than it is a fuel injected engine. So I may do that. I don't know. I haven't decided yet.
Let's take a look on the inside.
Yeah, and I've got to get this was a piece of plexiglass that was in it. I've actually got the glass. I've just got to get the glass installed. This is the way we got it. So if you're seeing that, that's what's going on there. We're going to change that. And inside, we may have showed it to you before. We got a full-size bed in here. It works out perfect. The last two, we had queen-size beds in them, and it was a lot more comfortable, I'll say, but the bed comes all the way over side to side, and it takes a lot of the storage out. So we decided to go with a full size in this one, and that's what we're going to stay with. We are definitely going to take the carpet out. Michelle hates this carpet. We're going to take this out and probably put wood floor in it, some of that laminate floor, because it's a lot easier to sweep that out than it is to fight this carpet, especially when you're camping. And pretty much that's all we're going to do, really. We may put some shelving in over here, a place where we can put a refrigerator. probably some solar panels on top eventually. Definitely want to get something like a fantastic fan in the roof. And once we do that, that's probably about all we'll do with it, with the exception of some stuff on the outside like the winch and the winch bumper. May put a box on the back for you know, some storage stuff, maybe a rack on top. I don't know. And I think I'm gonna try. I've never done it, but as you can see, it's a little high getting up in here. I'm 5'11". Michelle's 5'5", so it's kind of tough for her to get in here. But we got a little step stool that we take 3 steps that we can use to get in it. But I think what I'm gonna try to do, there's right much room up under here, in this area here. I'm gonna try to make some kind of, maybe some RV steps that can tuck under here that we can pull out to be able to get up and in and out of it easier without having to take a step stool. I did put some steps on it for Michelle there. She could not get in it without those steps, so I did do that. But
take a look up in the.
I think
Here.
I think that's about everything. It's just a good van. Everything on it works good. The cruise works. The windows, locks, everything works like it's supposed to. So I think we're gonna probably keep this one unless somebody comes up and really wants it a lot worse than us. This is probably the one that we're gonna go ahead and do everything that we want to do to. And I think that's answered pretty much all the questions. I mean, you know, I know I just kind of hit the high spots in the 4-wheel drive conversion and made it sound like it was just real easy, a simple thing. But I mean, it's a job to make one of these 4-wheel drive. There's a lot of fabricating. You have to relocate shock mounts. Even on the rear end, we had to relocate the shock mounts on the rear end and stuff like that. And then you got brake hoses, extended stuff. It's the little small incidental things that people don't think about that really takes time and cost. But we got it done. I think the next one, I think I said in the video, the next one we'll do is Olivia's, my daughter's. We've got another raised roof van, an 87, that we've got our hands on, that we're gonna do a build on, and that one will probably be a build that we're just gonna do a flip. So if anybody's interested in a van, think you might want that one, go ahead and speak for it now, and maybe you can watch your own van be built before you even pick it up. But anyway, I think that's it. If anybody has any questions on anything that I didn't answer, just leave a comment in it. We'll answer the question and get back with you. And I think we're probably going to do a walk around on your van next too. Yeah. So that'll be a video coming up. You know, check out Seth's van. He's got a 70s style boogie van. It's a pretty cool van. So we probably won't ever make that one 4-wheel drive because it's pretty popular the way it is now. But he's going to find him one. We'll make it 4-wheel drive too. But we'll keep you posted. We'll keep the videos going. Be sure to go on and like the video, subscribe to the channel, and please tell all your friends to subscribe to the channel so we can get all this stuff up and keep the videos coming. Hopefully it's stuff that you like and want us to keep them coming. So,
absolutely.
Have a good one.